Hi everyone. My apologies for being a little clunky on the recording today. I normally use another software, but apparently it has to be updated by IT. So we're going with Screencast-O-Matic today, which is fine, and it's awesome. So what I wanted to go over, and you can see here by Betterment.com on my screen, I have given a number of you recommendations through my comments on my grading. And I don't know if I've caught everybody with all of the recommendations I have. So I remember when I've taken some personal finance classes or some different classes related to money. And as I've taught this course and a similar course at another institution, one of the biggest things that students ask me about is investing. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that and also give some resources and just give some additional resources at the conclusion of this class that I think are very practical for students. So like I said, I've hit and miss a little bit, but I just wanted to show you also this is a total optional viewing, but perhaps it can help you launch into the next phase of your education, your exploration, which is great. So one of the things that I really like is I like Betterment.com. Betterment is a great site. It's a robo-advisor. So if you have never invested a penny in your life and you're curious about it or wondering what to do, Betterment is great. Now, what is this investing? This is not like day trading. This is not even like Robinhood or some of the other ones where you're buying individual stocks and like selling and buying and selling and buying every day. You're not doing that. This is for the long term. Okay, so this is what we want to do is we want to invest in a, this doesn't have 401ks. This would be through your employer. So hopefully if you have an employer that has a 401k, especially with a match, you'll want to do that first because that's free money. So whatever they match, put in that same amount, you get free money. If you don't have that option through your employer or you have fully funded that option, meaning you've gone up to the match, the next thing you want to do is invest on your own. So I like Betterment. It's a robo-advisor. You can explore more with how it works. But basically the idea is that you can start really slow. So like say 25 bucks a month, you want to invest. And this again is for the long term. So if you already have a 401k or even if you don't, I think for many people, the next best option is a Roth IRA. Roth IRAs, basically they take your pre-tax dollars, or I'm sorry, your post-tax dollars. Let me get the right terminology. So what that means is, you get your paycheck and you've already had your taxes taken out. So you're taking some of that money after you get your paycheck and you're investing. And why is this good? So that at the end, when you're ready to retire, sometime between the ages of, 59 and a half to, 65, 70, hopefully not that long, you will get all that money back without having tax penalties on them. So the 401k is different, right? So that means that that's pre-tax dollars, meaning that before taxes come out of my paycheck, my money goes directly into that for 401k, or in my case, a 403b. And why is that advantageous? Well, that's because I can then reduce my tax liability because it doesn't count against my taxable income, right? Or it's taken out before that. So maybe a little too complicated for where we're going. My recommendation though is that the nice thing, you can get started and then they take you through like a questionnaire. I'm not going to go through. There's my personal Gmail, but as you go through, you can answer questions. What are your goals? Do you want long-term investing? Are you saving for a down payment on a house or something like that? So it goes through the general index funds. It gets a little complicated. They do, what is it called? Loss harvesting. I'm blanking on the word. But anyway, if you're just starting out, that's not a huge deal. The reason that I like it, though, is that there's very low fees. So when you're looking to invest, low fees are important because you obviously don't want to pay a whole lot. A lot of times the fees are tied to how much you're investing, and they can get spendy. So this is a low fee option. It's kind of a set it and forget it. It's for the long term. You're going to see up and downs with the market. It kind of goes with the market, the general market. So it's not day trading. I think that's where a lot of people get really nervous about investing, is that they don't want to do this day trading idea where I'm trying to buy low and sell high with my stocks, and when do I buy and when do I sell, and they're getting into a little bit riskier investments. We see some things like this with like cryptocurrency, for example, which crypto is an interesting thing. I have some people in this class that have said, I've invested in crypto. Crypto is very volatile. I mean, it's even more than stocks. It's going to go up and down like crazy, right? So to me, I feel like crypto is a little bit more gambling money. It's, if I have some just fun money that I want to throw into some crypto just to see what it'll do, I do that, but that's not, my rent money. I definitely don't, or my house payment in this case. So I don't recommend that unless you're just like, okay, we're just doing this for fun. Definitely make sure that you have debt paid down or debt paid off, and that it's low interest debt, not credit cards, high interest debt before you start thinking about investing. Super important because a lot of credit card interests are 15, 16, 17%. So this way, and maybe more, you're getting a better return, right, by paying off that debt. Okay, so that's my first recommendation. Second recommendation, I read this book a number of years ago. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, and he this book was super interesting in terms of thinking differently about money and budgets. So the idea is not like rich, like monetarily rich, though that's awesome, but what do you value? What's important to you? What do you want? Where do you want to spend your money? So like his example is, let's say that you really like to go eat out. You like that brings you joy. You like to go to fancy restaurants. You like to have good meals. You hate to cook at home. That's your deal. So maybe you don't mind living in a, maybe older home or with roommates, or, maybe your housing situation, you don't care so much about that. You're like, I don't need to impress anybody. I just want to live in a simple home, but I really like to go out to eat. So that's what you value, and that's okay. So you build that into your budget. You look at your trade-offs. So that was one thing fundamentally too for me. A number of years ago, I had to think, okay, what are some important things to me? I do like a good meal out. I do like to travel. And so when I bought my home, granted, I bought it at a good time 9 years ago, not, if anybody out there is trying to buy a house right now, I'm really, really sorry. This is a really rough time to do that. But, keeping my mortgage payment really low so that I could enjoy these things. So, and he has a lot more packed into that. So I really recommend his book, especially if you are, maybe in your 20s or 30s, like really good stuff for starting out and thinking about your money priorities. The 50-30-20 budget rule, you can look this up. There's just a bunch of articles about it, but it's basically the way that I like to think about how I've looked at a quote budget or a spending plan. So for me personally, as much as I love to think about personal finance, I don't love to track the day-to-day, right? I can't. I think getting a good month or two to figure out where all your money is going is great, like every single penny. But beyond that, I can't maintain that for months. And so what I do is, especially if my husband and I are in a situation where our financial picture is going to change significantly, we sit down and about once a year we reassess too. And the idea is we're looking at a 50-30 budget. So we're dividing our categories, right? So 50% of our net pay, so what comes home after taxes, is going into needs. So what are these? These are like your food, clothing, housing, transportation, things that if you didn't pay them, there would be serious consequences. If I don't pay my mortgage, they take away my house, right? If you don't pay your rent, you get evicted. So those are very important things. Those are needs. And then 20% is going into savings, debt repayment, and I would say investing. So first of all, it's going into debt repayment, getting serious about getting debt paid off. Savings being savings, short-term, long-term. I have in my savings account multiple mini accounts that all do for vacations. I'm taking a vacation soon, so I've saved up for that. I've got my son does taekwondo, so I have a category for that. I have a category for Christmas because that comes every year, so to provide gifts, so things like that. And that all comes out of the 20% category. And I also invest out of that. So what was going into that Betterment account. And then 30% is wants. So this is your guilt-free spending. This is everything else. It's Netflix subscriptions. It's going out to eat at fancy restaurants. It's, maybe clothes purchases above and beyond necessities. It's whatever is important to you, just your spending money. So I like to it might be interesting if you want to have a good exercise to just see where you're at in these categories, do up a little budget. Speaking of budgets, so after I kind of get an idea of where my categories are once a year, for my day-to-day, I really like Mint. Mint is free. And what's really cool about it is you can connect all of your checking accounts and savings accounts and investing accounts, and it'll all show up at once. So it'll show you your net worth, which was, you did that on paper, but this is a good way to keep it going. It's a good way to see your spending categories, credit utilization. Once a month, they actually give you your credit score, which is cool. So I've used this for a lot of years. It's mostly just to kind of get an idea of a snapshot in time where I'm at, or sometimes if I don't want to open two individual apps related to my money, I just go here to kind of see a picture of it. There's other ones too. I've heard really good things about You Need a Budget. YNAB, what You Need a Budget, is really good. I think there's a fee for that, but people who use it really, really like it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I didn't want to belabor this point, but I just wanted to give you some of my recommendations that I've thought about over the semester. So hopefully these are helpful to you. I have really enjoyed reading all of your discussion boards. I have yet to read your final papers, though. I'm curious what you all thought about the next Millionaire Next Door as compared to the Millionaire Next Door, with some updated information. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your summer. And if you're coming back to campus next fall, it would be great if you would introduce yourself to me. Just tell me you were in my summer finance class, because I obviously will have trouble putting faces with names, but because you're all online students. But yeah, just pop in and say hi. So yeah, have a great summer.